All right, let's talk about how we get big things done. Every great achievement, whether it's building a massive skyscraper or launching a simple app on your phone, starts out as a project. And at the end of the day, a project is really just a temporary mission to create something new and unique. But how you manage that mission, that makes all the difference in the world. Today, we're diving deep into the two fundamental philosophies that drive pretty much all of project management.
So, let me just ask you this. Imagine you have to build something really complex. What's your instinct? Do you want to start with a super detailed, totally unchangeable blueprint, where every single nail is planned out from day one? Or would you rather have a flexible map, one that gives you a direction but lets you adapt and find new paths as you go? Seriously, that one question is the great divide. It's the core difference between the two approaches we're going to break down. So, yeah, let's get into it.
First up, we've got the architect's approach, the predictive model, which you've probably heard called the waterfall model. And yeah, it's exactly what it sounds like. This is the traditional, highly structured way of thinking where you design the entire building down to the last screw before anyone even thinks about laying a single brick.
The whole game here is right in the name. You try to predict everything. The core idea is to do a massive amount of detailed planning right at the very start. You define the entire scope, you map out the full schedule, you calculate the total cost, all of this before the real work even begins. It's all about one thing: minimizing surprises down the road.
And this is where that waterfall name really clicks. Predictive projects flow downwards through these 5 very distinct phases, one after the other. You start with initiating, you get the green light, then you move into that massive planning phase. Only when the plan is 100% complete does everything cascade down to the executing phase where the work gets done. While that's happening, you're monitoring and controlling to make sure you stick to the plan, and finally you get to the closing phase. The key rule, the absolute law, is that each phase has to be totally finished before the next one can start. You can't swim back up the waterfall to change the plan. And this quote, this really captures the entire predictive mindset. The work breakdown structure, or WBS, is basically the project's holy book. It's the master document you create during planning that lists out every single task. In the predictive world, that document is king. If some new idea or request comes up and it's not in that original WBS, tough luck. It is, by definition, out of scope. The plan is the plan, period. So you might be thinking, man, that sounds incredibly rigid, and you're right, it is. So when on earth is this the right approach? Well, it absolutely excels when you're building something predictable. Think about constructing a bridge or setting up a factory production line. The requirements are stable. The laws of physics aren't going to change halfway through. The outcome is totally understood, and trying to change things midstream would be an absolute disaster, financially and logistically. In those cases, that detailed blueprint is exactly what you need. Okay, now let's completely flip the script and look at our second philosophy. If predictive is the architect's detailed blueprint, agile is the explorer's map. It's not designed for predictable journeys. It's designed for navigating the great unknown, where you might not even be 100% sure what the destination looks like when you first set out.
This one line from the Agile Manifesto says everything you need to know. It's a huge shift in thinking. The predictive model we just talked about sees change as a problem, as an enemy to be controlled. Agile, on the other hand, sees change as an opportunity. The goal isn't to stubbornly follow the original plan no matter what. It's to adapt and respond to new information so you can build something even better in the end.
So, what is Agile really? Well, it's not one single method. Think of it more as a big family of methods, and Scrum is definitely the most famous member of that family. But the key idea they all share is this: you don't try to build the entire product all at once. Instead, you build and deliver it in small, working pieces or increments. This cycle of building a little, getting feedback, then building a little more is what allows a team to adapt so quickly and deliver real value along the way.
Now, the absolute heartbeat of any Agile project, especially if you're using Scrum, is the sprint. A sprint is just a short, consistent cycle of work, usually about 2 weeks long. At the start of the sprint, the team pulls a small chunk of work off their prioritized list, and for the next 2 weeks, they focus on getting that chunk completely finished. At the end, they have a tangible, working piece of the product to show for their efforts. And then, they do it all over again.
And the Agile world has its own vocabulary, all designed to support this rapid cycle. You've got the product backlog. That's just the master wish list for the whole project, with the most important stuff at the top. You've got the daily stand-up, a quick 15-minute sync meeting every morning to see what's up. At the end of the sprint, you have the sprint review. That's basically show and tell, where the team demos their finished work to customers. And finally, the retrospective, where the team asks, How can we get even better next time? It's this continuous loop of doing work, getting feedback, and improving.
So where does this Explorer's map really shine? It's perfect for projects where the requirements are probably going to change, or where you don't even know all the requirements at the start. Things like developing a brand new piece of software or doing a cutting-edge research project. In those environments, the ability to get fast feedback and continuously adapt isn't just nice to have, it's absolutely crucial for success. Okay, so we've met our two big contenders. We have the structured architect and the adaptable explorer. Now it's time for the showdown. Let's put them side by side and see how they really stack up against each other.
This really breaks it all down, nice and simple. For planning, predictive is this huge, one-time thing you do at the start. For agile, planning is continuous, happening all the time. When it comes to change, predictive discourages it to protect that initial plan. Agile actually welcomes change to improve the final product, and that leads right to delivery. With predictive, you get everything in one big bang at the very end. With agile, you get value delivered frequently in small working pieces.
Now, this is a fantastic concept for understanding the different trade-offs here. It's called the inverted triangle. In a predictive project, the scope is fixed. That's the one thing that's set in stone. To guarantee you hit that exact scope, what usually has to give? Time and cost, they become variable. And that is why so many of these projects go over budget and miss their deadlines. Agile flips this triangle upside down. It says our time and our cost are fixed. We've got a set team and we work in these short, regular sprints. So what becomes variable? The scope. The team just delivers the most valuable features possible within those fixed constraints, which is why they almost always ship on time and on budget.
So, we've seen the blueprint, we've seen the map, we've compared how they think. Now for the final, most important question, how do you choose? Which tool is the right one for your job? It really all comes down to this simple idea. If your project is predictable, if the requirements are stable, and you know them all from the start, then the predictive model is a powerful, powerful framework for control and efficiency. But if your project is stepping into the unknown, with requirements that are evolving and a whole lot of uncertainty, then the agile model gives you the flexibility and responsiveness you absolutely need to succeed.
And this is maybe the most important takeaway of all. There is no single best methodology. An architect's blueprint is pretty useless to an explorer, right? And an explorer's map is not nearly enough to build a skyscraper. They are just different tools for different problems. The real skill of a great leader or a great project manager isn't being a master of just one, but understanding which approach is the right fit for the specific challenge you're facing.
And that leaves us with one last thing to think about. This isn't just about managing projects at work. This is really about how we approach challenges in general. Think about your career, your personal goals, maybe even just planning out your week. When do you need that detailed, step-by-step blueprint? And when is it better to have a flexible map that lets you adapt as you go? The answer might just change how you tackle your next big thing.